morning. We are group 5, and we are going to talk about the information we found about Uber and about the process of finding that information.
So first of all, I'm going to start by summarizing a little bit the process we follow in order to create the final infographic. Starting by the resources, we mainly use Uber website. Not only the Spanish one, but also the US one, because as Marta is going to explain now, we found that Uber follows a different policy in different countries, so we needed to compare both of them. And we also took into consideration the document read in class because we found it pretty useful for our presentation. And we also look for in some online newspapers and articles to find news about the company and some extra information. Once we had our resources clear, we are starting by retrieving basic information about how Uber works, which is going to be explained by Gracita. And later we look for some failures, as well as the main critical factors that help Uber to overcome those failures. So once we had all that information clear, we are starting by creating a little schema of our infographic to have in mind what we are going to put on the final one. So finally, we use the app Canva to create the final poster, which I will get into more detail later.
Finding information about how the Uber application works has been easy because everything we should know is either on Uber's homepage or on any other website on the internet. The app has many features. When you request a ride, it provides you the driver's name, the license plate, the vehicle type, routes, and prices, so you can choose the route you prefer. Then you can contact the driver, and the app will notify you when the driver is about to arrive. After the trip, you can choose the payment method, either by card or by cash, and the app offers you many discounts and promotions. Moreover, both drivers and riders rate each other from 1 to 5 to create a community of respect. Another fact that was pretty easy to find was that what sets Uber apart from its competitors, that it's its fleet of black premium leather cars, which are more comfortable for riders. On the other hand, there was information that was more difficult to find, for example, the number of Uber users. And since we were not able to find the number of Uber users after each new service was implemented, we cannot properly assure the success implementing each of these services had. However, we do know that these services are successful enough to overcome the failures that Uber had later on. During 2019, Uber had 3 million drivers and 75 million riders globally, which proves that Uber is famous all around the world. During the last 6 months, Uber Eats had 20 million visits on mobile and desktop applications. And finally, we do not know the number of users that Jump Uber Bikes has, but we do know that since this service was launched, the number of Uber car trips has decreased because people prefer to use electric bikes.
We also had to look for information about Uber's failures during all the years that the company has been working. And the first one that we found out is that though Uber has been trying to grow big very fast, it has ignored different regulations in some countries that has led to Uber being banned in different countries. For example, in different cities. For example, in Spain, they were banned. The Uber Pop service was banned in 2014. Moreover, a very important failure that Uber had was a cybersecurity leak where there was a breach of the personal information of 57 million users, which is very important for the company because it is based on technology and the app should be the most secure feature. However, in 2017, there was a complete year of turmoil where different scandals took place for the company, starting with the report of sexual harassment from a worker, a female worker, towards the company. Also, the hashtag #DeleteUber became viral when Uber took advantage of a strike that the taxi drivers were doing against the Muslim travel ban that Donald Trump had established. The false advertising scandal involved Uber posting different prices in the internet that the real drivers were actually receiving. And also the Google lawsuit against Uber was very important because they were copying technology for the automatic car. And finally, the last scandal of 2017 was deceiving law enforcement with Greyball.
Despite all of these failures that Marta just talked about, Uber managed to overcome most of them. So through its, first of all, through its diversification, not only does it offer different services such as Uber Eats for food delivery or Uber Chopper for the helicopter service, but also within the taxi service you can choose different types of cars that have different prices, such as Uber X, which is a electric car, which makes the price lower. They also managed to expand globally really fast. So even though they didn't take into account cultural differences and legislation differences while expanding, they managed to get a wide enough reach so that even if certain parts of the service were banned in some countries, such as Uber Pop in Spain, they still had the rest of the service running, so they were still present in all these countries. Also, the app was a huge success factor because it was the first time that a company was providing these taxi services through a mobile app where the interface was super user-friendly, easy to access, and it gave information about how long the ride is going to take. And also, through one single app, you can access all of Uber's services, so Uber Eats, their rides, or Chopper. And this leads to the constant innovation and improvement that Uber is doing. So through all the years since it started, first doing an app for this kind of service, and now they're doing a partnership with Hyundai to create this is the prototype for an electric air taxi, which they're hoping to implement soon. Also, they keep updating their safety features, and they created a pin sharing feature where the rider and the driver share a pin so that no one gets into the wrong Uber. And finally, not owning their cars, but having drivers own their own cars has saved Uber a lot of money because they don't have to pay for maintenance or inventory, and they can save up costs here and allow the price of the ride to be lower.
So once we've collected all the information they just have presented, we created the infographic using the app Canva, which was very useful because it allowed us to choose from some templates. So we could choose the one which graphics follows Uber the best. So as you can see, we chose this one that had this black background with green and white letters, and so we tried to follow Uber a color scheme a little bit. As you can see on the top part, we put the company name as well as their slogan. And on the first part of the infographic, we wanted to focus on their company's values, which are openness, speed, impact, and autonomy. And we put some examples of what they are doing to implement those values. Next, we put 3 different failures, the one we thought were more important, and we put their date because we wanted to emphasize that they weren't that long ago. And to contrast those failures, we put at the end, we put the 3 main success factors that help them overcome those failures. And on the right part, we decided to end our infographic with this graph that talks about Uber growth rate, because we wanted to end our infographic with the conclusion that even though the company has faced a lot of failures during the years, they've been able to overcome them with the critical success factors. So overall, we can say that Uber is a pretty successful company nowadays, since their growth rate is positive, as you can see. So.
Thank you very much. If anyone has any questions.